These 5 people wanted to get out of prison. They pried a tile open and extracted a small mirror. They then smashed the mirror into pieces with a spoon. They selected the most squarely shaped piece of mirror, wrapped the leftover fragments in paper, and threw them into the toilet. At this point, there was a sound of unlocking outside the door, and the warden stepped in. The criminals responded swiftly and placed the mirror piece in his mouth. The guards, in turn, inspected and searched the criminals' whole bodies, because pieces of glasses in the toilet might be revealed. A criminal pulled the rope outside to wash them away. "What the heck are you doing?" the warden asked hastily. "I've never used this outside before, so I simply wanted to give this a try." They didn't give it much thought and went in to continue checking. The whole cell was ransacked, with food dumped on the ground. Every day, the warders had to inspect in this manner. The main purpose was to keep prisoners from fleeing. The criminals continued to act after the warden had left. He took the toothbrush, placed the mirror piece on top of it, and then knotted the two things together with thread. As a result, they had completed making the first escape weapon, a handmade camera. They only need to insert the camera via this little hole to see every activity outside. And their purpose was to excavate a hole beneath this pile of paper. To conceal the sound of digging hole, they told the cell next door damaged the toilet. In that manner, they may use the sound of toilet repair to mask the sound of their digging. They even prepared a rope to deliver smokes and excellent wine to the cell next door to express their thanks. The prison escape action then officially began. They took the nail out of the bed, then extracted the dowel, completing the second escape weapon, the axe. They pushed the pile of paper to the chosen place, and then began digging. When they saw the wardens approaching, they panicked and immediately withdrew. But this man was not afraid, since he knew the next room was fixing the toilet. Indeed, according to what he said, the wardens didn't know what they were doing. Just like that, they took it in turns to dig the hole. After some time, a large hole was dug. To check, they burnt a piece of paper and hurled it down. Although they didn't know where the interior would lead, they decided to come down tonight to take a look. To avoid detection, they stuffed bits of paper into blankets and knotted them with towels, creating the dummy laying in the blanket. The two of them stood close to the wall. When the warden arrived to check on the prisoners, someone else moved the dummy in the blanket to make it appear like a real person. After successfully deceiving the on-duty warden, they pulled out a spoon to unscrew the screw at the foot of the table. So they had a third prison escape weapon, a saw blade. These two prisoners descended to the bottom of the hole, and the person above covered the floor and tied a rope around the leg. That way, the two of them might be readily reached to return. After descending down, they realized that they were in a basement. They then cut the iron window in front of them with the saw blade. They saw it for a long time until they arrived at the second room, which served as a storage facility. As soon as they arrived, they met the wardens, who were on their way down to take the stuff. Because of the forced circumstance, one person stood on top of another in order to hide. After the wardens had left, they discovered the window handle. They broke the window handle and created the master key, which was their fourth prison escape weapon. They could rely on it to unlock all the doors. They walked around till they came to a sewer. However, the master key could not open this door. They had to find another way, which was to lift the door. As a consequence, he opened the hinge with the saw blade. Two people entered the sewer and expectedly discovered that the exit was blocked. They couldn't escape since the concrete on the wall was so solid. However, they discovered that the sewer line's concrete wall was built of low-quality cement. The two discussed and agreed to return to get the tools. But they would have to wait until the next day, since the warden was going to check on them. The other prisoners were understandably concerned, but thankfully, both of them returned on time. The dummy was then thrown into the pit, with the pile of papers being pulled back. They finished the last step before the warden came in. They pretended to be sleeping under blankets. They then realized that this method was not fine. We should have a watch, otherwise, it will be quite easy to be caught. As a result, they had to create the watch. One of them went to the clinic to get an injection. On the table, he discovered some small jars. He snatched it and tucked it in his scarf when the doctor was not paying attention. He also took 2 handfuls of sand on his way back to his room. When he returned, the warden found out these pile of sand. Fortunately, he lied about using sand to wash dishes to avoid questioning. Just like that, they collaborated to create 4 escape weapons. This was an hourglass that they had made. After numerous tests, they discovered that each time of hourglass usage was half an hour. The digging then resumed. They went to the sewers to obtain some pieces of wood to build a small bridge beneath the water. A prisoner drew a circle on the wall and slammed an iron bar into it, looking quite professional. Every time they returned, they computed the precise time. For many days, the 5 of them took turns doing it. They eventually punched the hole and crawled into it swiftly. Then they discovered a way out. When they opened the manhole cover, they noticed a car that they hadn't seen in a long time. They were overjoyed when they returned and planned to act that night. They shaved neatly, wiped their shoes clean, smoothed their hair, and retied their ties. When they had turned off the lights to sleep, the warden arrived to check the room. They hurriedly slipped into the blankets. So the wardens didn't even notice anything. Everyone was hugging each other farewell right now, then pulling out the pile of papers to escape from prison. But a prisoner suddenly felt that something was wrong. He instantly used the mirror to check what was up outside. A bunch of wardens were standing outside, which made him take aback. The wardens then stormed in and took them away. At this moment, the white man appeared. A prisoner told him a strange sentence, "Poor you." The white man was then shown to a single room. Actually, the traitor was not a white man, he was only a puppet. And the actual traitor was this prison detective. When they recalled what had occurred, they realized that all of the plans had been in place since the beginning. The warden had dispatched that man to coordinate with them, because it was clear that no one could bring the tools into the cell. But it was a piece of cake for this prison detective.